deep-sea sightseeing submarine named Titan went missing during a dive operation in the North Atlantic Ocean. The incident gained global attention because it happened near the famous Titanic wreck site. The Titanic, one of history's most iconic cruise ships, took 2 years to build and had a displacement of 46,000 tons. It was the largest and most luxurious passenger liner of its time, earning a reputation for being unsinkable. The name Titanic comes from the Greek mythological Titans, meaning gigantic. In 1912, on its maiden voyage from Southampton, England to New York, the Titanic struck an iceberg in the North Atlantic. Within 2 hours and 40 minutes, the ship broke in two and sank to a depth of 3,800 meters, resulting in the deaths of 1,517 people, nearly 70% of the passengers. Among the deceased was Captain Edward John Smith, who chose to go down with the Titanic. A statue of him stands in a park in Lichfield, England. The Titanic disaster shocked the world. Due to the technological limitations of the time, the wreck's location remained undiscovered until 1985. Since then, ocean currents and bacteria have continuously eroded the wreck. As it slowly disappears, many people wish to see it with their own eyes, leading to the emergence of companies specializing in dive tourism. In 2009, a private company named OceanGate Expeditions was founded in Washington State, USA, offering high-end tourism services. While many companies offer similar services, most manned submersibles used for sightseeing explore natural underwater features like coral reefs within 500 meters of depth. OceanGate submersibles can reach much greater depths, enabling them to explore areas like the Titanic wreck site. Since 2021, the company has been taking clients to visit this historic location. They operate 3 submarines, one of which is named Titan, a name notably similar to Titanic. Titan is 6.7 meters long, 2.8 meters wide, 2.5 meters high, and weighs 10 tons, with a maximum diving depth of 4,000 meters. To achieve such depths, the submersible must adhere to specific technical standards. The Titan submersible features a carbon fiber hull and titanium end caps. It is equipped with high-definition cameras, an inertial navigation system, and sonar devices that provide real-time data on depth, speed, and hull stress. The sub has 4 thrusters, 2 horizontal and 2 vertical, allowing it to reach speeds of up to 3 knots. The rear section houses the oxygen supply and other electronic equipment. Inside the cabin, there are 2 display screens, and the submersible is operated using a remote-control joystick, which the pilot can also use to control lights and communicate with the surface. Passengers sit on the floor, leaning against the curved walls, similar to being in a small van without seats. Besides observing the surroundings via the display screens, passengers can also look through a 53-centimeter diameter viewport at the front to directly view the underwater scenery. The Titan submersible, specifically designed for Titanic wreck tours, can accommodate up to 5 people. Typically, it carries 1 pilot, 1 guide, and 3 paying passengers, each paying $250,000. The interior space is extremely limited. All 5 occupants must sit on the floor as there are no seats. The headspace features a toilet with a privacy curtain that also serves as the hatch. When on the surface, people enter and exit through this hatch. The cramped quarters can feel oppressive, requiring passengers to sit cross-legged on the floor. Prolonged occupancy can be uncomfortable, demanding endurance and the ability to overcome claustrophobia. However, the desire to see the Titanic wreck in person often outweighs these discomforts for passengers. The Titanic wreck lies about 590 kilometers southeast of Newfoundland, Canada, in the North Atlantic. The Titan submersible conducted 6 dives to the Titanic in 2021 and 7 in 2022. OceanGate, the operator, describes this extraordinary journey as an opportunity to step out of everyday life and discover something truly remarkable. OceanGate operates 3 submersibles: Cyclops 1, Cyclops 2, and Titan. Among these, Titan is the only one capable of reaching the depth of the Titanic wreck. The previous dives over the past 2 years had been mostly problem-free. This time, the company's CEO personally piloted the submersible. However, no one could have anticipated the tragic incident that occurred. On Friday, June 16, 2023, after gathering the team of 5, OceanGate set off towards the Titanic wreck for an 8-day journey. The 5 individuals on this mission were Stockton Rush, 61, Paul-Henri Nargeolet, 77, Hamish Harding, 58, Shahzada Dawood, 48, and his son Suleiman Dawood, 19. Stockton Rush, the CEO of OceanGate, was the pilot. Paul-Henri Nargeolet, a French national and former French Navy officer, was a Titanic expert. According to his biography on the company's website, Nargeolet completed 35 dives to the Titanic wreck and supervised the recovery of 5,000 artifacts. In 2010, he also participated in the search for the black box of Air France Flight 447. Hamish Harding was a British billionaire adventurer and a Cambridge University graduate. He owned an international aviation brokerage company in Dubai and held a pilot's license. Harding's extensive experience included visiting the South Pole and descending nearly 10,000 meters into the Mariana Trench in a submersible. In 2022, he traveled to space with 5 others aboard Blue Origin spacecraft, owned by Jeff Bezos. Harding holds 3 Guinness World Records: the fastest circumnavigation of the Earth via the North and South Poles in 2019, the longest distance traveled at full ocean depth in 2021, and the longest time spent at the deepest part of the ocean. Hamish Harding is undoubtedly a legendary figure. Shahzada Dawood, a billionaire with dual Pakistani and British citizenship, has been fascinated by the Titanic since childhood and loves various adventures. This time, he brought along his 19-year-old son, Suleiman, hoping to let him experience the thrill and excitement. Suleiman is a student at the University of Strathclyde in Scotland. His family mentioned that he felt a bit apprehensive about this journey. Once the 5 participants were gathered, the Canadian research vessel Polar Prince, based in St. John's, Newfoundland, set off with the Titan submersible towards the Titanic wreck site on June 16, 2023. The next day, the Polar Prince arrived at the dive site, but adverse weather conditions prevented a dive. One of the passengers, Hamish Harding, posted on Facebook, mentioning that Newfoundland was experiencing its worst winter in 40 years. He highlighted that this mission might be the first and only manned mission to the Titanic in 2023, as the weather window had just opened. They planned to attempt the dive the following day. On Sunday, June 18th, at 9:30 a.m., the Titan's dive mission officially began. Each complete tour of the wreck, including descent and ascent, was planned to take approximately 8 hours. After all preparations were complete, the Titan began its descent. The wreck lies 3,800 meters underwater. To put this in perspective, the world's tallest building, the Burj Khalifa in Dubai, stands at 828 meters. A depth of 3,800 meters is equivalent to stacking 4.6 Burj Khalifas from the seabed to the surface. It takes about 2 hours to reach the seabed at this depth. The Titan sends out a safety pulse signal to the surface every 15 minutes, monitored by the surface crew. At 11:15 a.m., 1 hour and 45 minutes into the dive, the surface crew made their last communication with the Titan. After that, the Titan lost contact, and the surface crew could no longer establish communication, indicating that the sub's GPS and radio were not functioning properly. Experts are now trying to determine what went wrong, suspecting a possible malfunction. The surface crew initially believed the Titan would resurface after several hours, but it did not. Throughout the afternoon, they made countless attempts to contact the submersible, but received no response after its descent. At 4:30 p.m., the scheduled resurfacing time, the crew realized the situation was dire. The Titan must have encountered an emergency. An international team led by the United States Coast Guard, USCG, U.S. Navy, USN, and Canadian Coast Guard conducted the search and rescue operation. The first to arrive in the search area were aircraft. The U.S. Coast Guard deployed a C-130 transport plane and AP-8 anti-submarine patrol aircraft, both of which dropped sonar buoys to detect underwater movements. Canada also sent a Lockheed P-3 maritime patrol aircraft equipped with submarine tracking devices. A few hours later, these aircraft detected underwater sounds. Media reports indicated that the Canadian aircraft picked up a banging noise every 30 minutes. However, since the sound was captured by the aircraft's equipment, determining the precise location or confirming if it came from the Titan submersible was impossible. Nonetheless, this news gave hope that the 5 individuals aboard might still be alive. The submersible's oxygen supply, calculated from the time of departure, could last up to 96 hours. Considering increased oxygen consumption due to panic, this 96-hour estimate was ideal, and the actual duration could be shorter, possibly only 70 hours. Rescue teams had to race against time, but the remote location posed significant challenges to their efforts. The Titan could either be trapped at the ocean's bottom or have already surfaced. Its system had a timed mechanism to automatically rise to the surface after a set period. Importantly, the 5 passengers were sealed inside with bolts installed from the outside, so they couldn't open the hatch themselves and would need external help to exit. Even if the submersible surfaced, the passengers would still depend on the internal oxygen supply, requiring rescuers to find them before the oxygen ran out. Following the incident, several ships joined the search. The Bahamian pipelaying ship Deep Energy carried 2 remotely operated vehicles, ROVs, but they could only dive to 3,000 meters, not deep enough to reach the Titanic wreck at 3,800 meters. The French research vessel Atalanta had an ROV capable of deep-sea exploration. The Canadian fisheries research vessel John Cabot was equipped with a towed sonar system. The Canadian offshore supply vessel Atlantic Merlin had a 4,000-meter-long steel cable winch, enough to reach the Titanic wreck's depth. The Canadian supply ship Horizon Arctic was equipped with an advanced Odysseus 6K remotely operated vehicle, ROV. Other vessels involved in the search included the Canadian multipurpose offshore vessel Scandi Vinland, the Canadian Coast Guard's high-endurance multitasked vessel and Harvey, and the Royal Canadian Navy. After several days of searching, on the morning of Thursday, June 22nd, the 96-hour oxygen supply had been exhausted. At 1:18 p.m. that afternoon, the Odysseus 6K ROV deployed from the Horizon Arctic made a significant discovery after 5 hours of underwater searching. At a depth of 3,800 meters, approximately 500 meters from the bow of the Titanic wreck, a debris field was found. The identified debris included the tail cone and the front and rear end caps, which were confirmed to be parts of the Titan tourist submersible. Authorities confirmed that the submersible had imploded and clarified that the fragments were not due to a collision. In January 2018, David Lockridge, the former director of marine operations at OceanGate, raised concerns with the company's executives about technical flaws in the Titan submersible. He believed the carbon fiber material posed risks during pressure cycles, being susceptible to fatigue failure and weakening by salt water. Lockridge was subsequently fired by OceanGate, which then sued him for breach of contract, leaking confidential information, and fraud. The case was later settled out of court, with no specifics disclosed regarding the final settlement. However, since the Titanic wreck is located in international waters, there were no legal issues with operating an uncertified submersible. Journalist David Pogue shared his experience of boarding the Titan. Before the dive, he signed a waiver that included a disclaimer stating that the Titan was an experimental submersible not approved or certified by any regulatory body and that it could result in physical injury, disability, or emotional trauma. Pogue noted that there were 18 bolts securing the hatch from the outside, but only 17 were installed at the time. When he questioned this, the staff assured him it made no difference. Notably, the Titan submersible lacked a traditional control cabin and was operated using a game controller, specifically the Logitech F710, released in 2010 and retailed for about $30. This controller, designed for PC gaming, features 2.4 GHz wireless connectivity, dual motor vibration, and programmable buttons, and is compatible with Windows and Chrome OS systems. Operating the Titan was akin to playing a video game, but unlike games where lives can be restarted, real life has no such reset. Reports indicate that Wendy Rush, the wife of OceanGate's CEO Stockton Rush, is a descendant of a wealthy couple who survived the Titanic disaster. The Titan and Titanic names differ by only 2 letters, and both incidents occurred in the same oceanic area, adding an eerie twist to the story. An episode of the animated series, The Simpsons, seemingly predicted this event. In it, the main character operates a dubious submersible in search of sunken treasure and encounters trouble. The Titan submersible accident has garnered worldwide attention and raised concerns about the safety of similar submersibles, significantly impacting the submarine tourism industry. James Cameron, director of the 1997 film Titanic, visited its wreckage site 33 times and piloted Deep-Sea Challenger to the bottom of the Mariana Trench. James Cameron also mentioned his 25-year friendship with one of the passengers, Frenchman Paul-Henri, and his inability to accept the loss of such a close friend. Cameron, an expert in deep-sea exploration, had previously warned a similar submersible company against using carbon fiber material due to fundamental design flaws. He expressed his shock at the Titan's disaster, eerily similar to the Titanic's tragedy, describing it as a prolonged nightmare. He also shared his sorrow over the loss of his friend, whom he had known for 25 years. This tragedy underscored the lack of regulation in the private submersible industry. The Titan had not received third-party safety certification and had conducted multiple manned deep dives, taking significant risks. In an interview, Cameron called for regulatory bodies to mandate safety certifications for submersibles. He emphasized that deep-sea diving is extremely hazardous and requires high technical standards for submersibles. Globally, only about a dozen submersibles can dive below 4,000 meters. In 2012, the Australian submersible Challenger set a world record by reaching a depth of 10,898 meters, piloted by Cameron to the Mariana Trench in the Pacific Ocean. China's Jiaolong submersible has a diving depth of 7,062 meters, and in 2020, the Chinese submersible Fendu's reached the bottom of the Mariana Trench at 10,909 meters. Only a few submersibles worldwide can surpass the 10,000-meter mark, representing the pinnacle of technology. The Polar Prince, which transported the Titan, flies the Canadian flag. As a result, the Canadian Transportation Safety Board announced an investigation into the incident. The Royal Canadian Mounted Police also formed an investigative team and did not rule out a criminal investigation. Perhaps soon, we will learn what the 5 individuals aboard the Titan experienced before the disaster. Human courage and the spirit of exploration shine brightly in the endless dark depths of the ocean. Unfortunately, the 5 aboard the Titan will never return. This accident serves as a wake-up call to maritime workers worldwide, highlighting the cost of underestimating nature's power. Nevertheless, humanity will not halt its explorations. With humility and caution, these endeavors will undoubtedly become more robust. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. Your support keeps us going. Thank you.